Welcome to On the Pedals, a Stolen Ride podcast. I'm your host, Imogen Cotter. Each episode, we dig into cycling, the community around it, and the realities of security and crime with the people who spend their lives inside these worlds. And this week, I'm joined by Marco and Angie from Aztecs Bikes, an independent bike shop in London. Thank you so much for joining me today. You've got an amazing story about how you got your bike shop started. Marco, I read that you moved here from Mexico and worked in the cycling industry and then felt drawn to open your own shop. So it would be great to find a bit about Aztec Bikes and how it got started.
Hi, thank you for having us. So I'm from Mexico and just from France, and we've been on the business for almost, it's gonna be like 6 years as a company. On the physical shop, we're gonna be about like 5 years. And yeah, I've been on the trade for a while, over 15, 17 years by now. And yeah,
Yeah.
we was starting into just basically, I wanted to do something as a sports, and then I got drawn into cycling.
Yeah, because you worked like in a lot of shop, like in retail, and in a lot of jobs in the cycling industry before opening your own shop, which is quite interesting because I suppose you've seen the cycling world from both sides. And I'd be interested to find out what drew you or what was like the attraction to opening up your own shop.
I think on that one, it's because we were a bit fed up. Marco tried a bit like all the bike shop in London, all the well-known brands, and we wanted to do things differently. And I know how Marco is really good with customer. He really has this, how can I say, he's really social person compared to me. And so yeah, we thought like we saw unit next to our flat, and we were like, okay, let's go and visit. And we started to project ourselves in there. So we started to make an inquiry, and then everything took off like this. So it was just a bit of out of curiosity, I would say, at the beginning. And then we were like, yeah, let's do it. Like, what do we have to?
Yeah, but it's amazing because your bike shop has gone from, I mean, I read that in 2021 you were storing bikes all over your apartment, like in your bedrooms, like they were everywhere. And then, 4 years later, last year you won the Independent Bike Shop of the Year, right? So,
Yeah.
like, how do you go from in 2021, you're just getting started, there's bikes everywhere, to 4 years later, you've made that improvement? How did that come about?
I think it's a lot thanks to Marco, obviously. He is the one who is handling the customer on a daily basis. And I don't know if you check our Google reviews, I think it's really standing out compared to other bike shop. So there's like above 700 positive Google reviews. So I think we really built that trust, and that's what we try to put in everything that we do in the shop. So we try to be a bit different as well. So I think you saw we are quite more modern bike shop compared to the other. How can I say? The other bike shop,
Competitions.
competition is a bit more messy, more raw, I will say. While we try to bring something more simple. Then we even use AI. We have our booking system with Bikebook to try to be as transparent as possible with our customer. So we try to do a bit things differently, and always customer focused, I would say.
Yeah, because I saw on your website, yeah, you have an opportunity to book in for like a free consultation session, and also that you do like workshops with your customers as well. I think I saw that on your website. And I think that's such an amazing way of opening up the world of cycling because it can seem a bit daunting sometimes. And was that something that you had in mind when you opened up your shop, like doing these workshops? Was that always an idea?
Yeah, because Marco likes to teach. Marco likes to be with people. Marco likes to talk about bikes all day long. So I think, yeah, that's something even I think in the future, once Marco is maybe less on the workshop fixing bike, he will be more, even more and more actually focusing on being more with around people, more around. I saw some do workshop like just for women, and I think we want to keep building this one. Sharing knowledge and yeah, teaching as much as possible people around us.
I think so. I think so. We did our last workshop. It was basically only ladies,
That's so cool. I love to hear that.
and obviously for me, it's more. It's about empowering the ladies to knowing more, to be more independent, not relying in the boyfriend or the partner. especially because of Angie, my partner, because of my daughter. So it's not just like I'm a guy. I want to make sure that they have the tools to be feeling independent as well, to feeling powerful.
That's amazing. I mean, of course, giving it's one thing to tell someone, but to show someone how to do it is brilliant. So I really think the angle that you've taken on it is really interesting as a bike shop. I actually have one question as well, because I know that a large part, or like one of your beliefs at the shop, is about bike security and, cutting down on bike theft. And I saw you've joined the Stolen Ride Cycle Security Pledge. But I actually wanted to ask about when you were first opening the shop. I think I read that you had a break-in. And how when you're just starting out and something like that happens, how do you pick yourself up and keep going forward knowing that that's a possibility?
I think we just reinforced security.
Mm-hmm.
The first things we did, and that was a big investment in our shop, it was the shutter.
Yeah.
Because we knew that it's gonna happen anyway. We didn't plan that it will happen as well on the back door, and the landlord was saying the back door was really secured, but it happened that it was not that secured. But luckily they didn't manage to get in, but they destroyed the door, and I think if they would have come the next day, it would have happened. So yeah, we added the next following days, I think, like another reinforcement, yeah, to secure the back door as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
unfortunately for this one, it's quite hard, and everybody's exposed at the end of the day. Any business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just to be cautious. It's just to matter to obviously a lot of the business they got insurance, but you don't want to rely on that one, and because it's just the mental loss as well that you start to be getting stress, plus the hassle that you need to recover everything, and especially if you have a customer's bikes, it's not something that you want to lose because it's the trust from the customer as well.
Yeah, of course. Well, it sounds like you've taken all the right steps to get past that, and it was 5 years ago now, so hopefully smooth sailing from here on out. I actually had one question as well about your customers, because I suppose when you started out in 2021, have you seen a big shift in the cycling culture in London? I think I read on your website that now you're going to be starting building like racing elite kind of bikes. So have you noticed a big shift in your customer profile at the shop?
So we started with we're welcoming all the customers. We pretty much we're not in a position to be picky and to say I don't do this kind of bikes. We try to be as accommodating as much as possible, but yeah, slowly start to be picking up into the higher quality customers, into higher quality bikes. So that was start to be focusing to that one for the next couple of.
I think it's not a high quality customer. It's not really nice to say that, but I would say more just commuters. Is just that the commuters, they just come in the shop mainly obviously when they actually need, and we can see, for example, massive drops in the season when the weather is not great, or when it's winter, while like more the proper roadie, the proper cyclist, usually, unless it's really that bad the weather, they still cycle, they still work on this one. And also I think we wanted also to shift on this one because we really like the brand with who we are working, and we want to be different. And the fact that we can offer full custom bikes, personally, me, that's a dream, because I'm like, I can actually choose the color and my bike, and it's unique to me. And this one, I feel that is something as well that it makes you also different from the market, from other bike shop, which is nice as well.
Yeah, that's really true. And I think the cycling, like the racing scene, is growing in London. So you'll have a steady stream of customers, I'm sure. But in your time in London, for both of you, but Marco, like you've been involved in the cycling industry for so many years, have you noticed that there's a bigger shift towards elite cycling or like elite training over the commuting side of things?
It's slowly, well, it's not slowly, but it's been changing quite in that role, because a lot of people, they used to be like, I cannot be able to afford to get to spend that much money. I'm not allowing myself to spend it for two reasons. One, because it's a tiny bit way over my budget. And second one, because people normally think into, oh, if I got something nice, I don't want it to get stolen. But thanks to certain bodies that they start to be pushing the sport, and especially for I noticed during winter, uh, we did an event, and I started noticing there is a lot of clubs. So that one helps a lot to the people. Like normally, customers they come in, all the gear, and you're like, where do you cycle? Where do you normally go? I don't know, because I don't know where to go. I don't know the routes. I don't know with who. So there is a lot of cycling clubs now that they start to be integrating these kind of people to be pushing them into create these groups, so you can be able to be accepted, and doesn't matter which bike do you ride, doesn't matter which level you are welcome. So
Yeah.
that's why I start to be getting into higher level to, and the people start to be checking to, okay, now I want to perform better. How can I be able to ride more? How can I be able to do better? What can I be able to improve? And slowly you start to be checking your clothing, your shoes, and your bike, and so on and so forth.
I think Marco is good at that, and when I see how he speak to our customer, even the commuters, like they come from just being commuters and not really caring much about their bikes to really treating them like almost their child. And I think same slowly, he had some commuter customers who actually now went for like a gravel bike or a proper road bike and start slowly to push and change toward more the sport. So it's nice to see that.
Yeah, it's really amazing because I do feel that in cycling, there's often like a barrier to get in because you think that like your first bike has to be, an S Works or something. So it's interesting to see that you can come in bit by bit and that you're not making it such a scary leap for people to get into. Yeah, because I do find that holds people back a lot. And you touched on at the beginning of that, you mentioned like about commuters being hesitant to buy a different bike in case it's stolen. And that was actually something I was curious to ask you about the cycle security pledge, because I was actually wondering, you signed up to this Stolen Ride Cycle Security Pledge, but I wondered, how does that actually affect and benefit your customers? Like, what does that mean to be part of that pledge?
Mainly just to give them the sensation to be like, okay, what can be able to do us as a business, and what they can be able to do as a customers. Because at the end of the day, everything is about knowledge, and you want to be reassured that obviously I cannot be able to promise that it's never going to happen, but to explain you what you should do in case that it happens, what can be able to avoid to get into these kind of levels. Like for example, the most popular cases we posted on our Instagram and our TikTok, on our social media, a hack.
I saw it. I never knew about this way of locking your bike. I saw it yesterday and I was like, oh my God, it was very smart.
And for example, you say like, I will be surprised that you don't know these kind of things because you are a professional cyclist.
Yeah.
Most of the customers, they were like, yes, I didn't know this one. And a lot of people that is new to cycling, oh yes, it makes sense to lock it on your bike this way. But then obviously you have this a lot of people that they start to be doing the negative comments. But at the end of the day, we focus into how can you be able to look after your bike in a better way, how
Yeah.
to secure it.
Yeah, you're empowering your customers to feel safer on their bikes. I think that's really like a massive step. I wondered, is there a driving force behind this passion that you both have for bike safety, bike security? Is there any story in particular that you've had in the store that sticks with you?
Looking at me, I don't know. Honestly, I think it's just part of our values as because I think security, even the way we treat the bike, obviously we have the lives of people in our hand. So I think it's just making sense to be careful in terms of both security, whether it's for like theft, or the security obviously on how we handle the bike. Yeah, I think it's just minimum standard in my opinion. So it comes into my mind.
I mean, it's mainly mostly for a lot of people that will take it as a common sense, but at the end of the day, it's just a little extra that, as I said before, normally people, they don't know how to use the lock. They don't know how to use the tools at all in general, but that's what we like to explain. That's why we say, like, okay, so you can be able to use to prevent mainly.
How we empower, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically as well in terms of the security. At the end of the day, a lot of people, they think that all the locks, they are the same quality, but now comparing with the new standards from the insurance or the people that we work with, basically just explaining me what can be able to do in order to get a tiny bit more extra security. That's it.
Okay. Okay, I understand. Well, it sounds like you're covering all bases. So I thought the bike lock hack was brilliant when I saw it. So I think a lot of pros, everybody can learn from it. Um, but one thing I would really like to know about as well, you guys have had the shop for about 5 years now. Has it gotten more difficult to have a bike shop, or is it getting more easy to have a bike shop? It looks like more difficult.
I think it's a tough question because we can see that the cycling industry is suffering. I
Yeah.
think we see lots of brands, lots of well-known bike shop closed down. So it's hard, I think, to see, and obviously it's scary as well for small businesses. The governance is definitely not helping small business at the moment. So I will say it's really tough on that side because even though we don't see that much of a growth because of all those change, the inflation, just as an example, the business rates is really difficult for small businesses. But in the same time, we try to adapt. We try to, as you can see, we try to do things differently. And that's how we try to push. And I think that's why we are doing not so bad compared to our competitors. So I hope it will stay this way as long as possible.
Yeah. And have you noticed that maybe customer trends are changing at all? I mean, are customers going for, let's say, secondhand bikes or like repairing their bikes for longer?
There are a few people. Obviously, we have a half during the summer and the season when the sun is come out. We can start to be seeing like a lot of people, they coming with the bikes that they've been on the shed. A few people still using the second-hand bikes. I noticed these last couple of months, let's say within a year, people is buying less and less second-hand bikes because of the targets, and especially because when they say like, oh, I'm gonna buy a new bike, but in the mentality and in the reality, what they're saying is, I'm gonna buy another second-hand bike that is new to me, but it's not new from the shop. And when I explain them, okay, fair enough, but you potentially having the risk that right now the bike that you're bringing me for me to look at it, to do the assessment, is gonna cost you this much. And for them, most of the time, they think like it's too much. Why should I spend that much money on a bike that I paid this little? Yes, but you don't take in consideration that it was second hand already, that it was already not safe, and it's already all the parts are worn out. So it went already bad. It just went to a lot of parts to be replaced. So now buying a second-hand bike is too much a greater risk because you don't know the condition of the bike. You don't know the bike if it's been stolen or if it's been crashed. And if it's been stolen, most of the people, they don't know this, but potentially you can have a criminal record. Not because you stole it, because you handle stolen goods. And they give me the same example. They're like, oh, I didn't know this. So in London, it's not really that crazy or really that the police is checking onto that one very often because it's the city. But I know this one on the smaller cities like near to the seaside and so on, or smaller towns, that the police is at little more smaller, so they can be able to check a little more often. But then
Yeah.
that's when they start to be checking and they're like, oh, so this bike is stolen. So you get nicked because of that.
Wow. Have you had that happen in the shop, that people have come in with a bike that they did not know was stolen?
Not that I notice when the bike is stolen, but I don't mention it. And the only way that I can say, or again, there are ways that you can be able to avoid these kind of things. But the first one that you can be able to do is just check on the online on bar register, and you can be able to check the frame number. If the frame is not appearing, sorry to say, but yes, it's kind of like a safe, but you know that the bike got stolen because somebody didn't knew about this one, and they didn't have the chance to record the bike.
Oh my goodness. So there's ways around it then.
Exactly. So meaning that at least you are gonna be safe, that you're not gonna be able to have a legal action against you. But if the bike gets stolen and it's been reported, then you are more likely that you're gonna have a problem. So we can be able to notice that sometimes the bike is coming with one wheel and the other wheel it does. I mean, the wheels they don't match,
Yeah.
and you're like, I didn't notice this one. So one size is bigger or different brand, yeah, because they take the front wheel and they put another wheel.
God. Wow. Must be a bit depressing to see like the lengths that thieves and like robbers have gone to get those bikes off the frame. I mean, or to get those bikes out of their security lock or whatever it is. It must be a bit depressing as a bike shop in London, because I would imagine that bike theft is increasing quite a bit in London.
I'm scared every day for Marco, honestly, sometimes.
Yeah.
Because we never know what's going to happen. Even though you put every security and so on, you never know how people are getting really crazy. We saw even on our neighborhood, they just break in just for like £500. So for whatever nowadays they do. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, thank God you have those shutters and the reinforced door. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got everything possible to stop them, which is the main thing. And going back to the bike repairs and the second-hand bikes, what are you seeing like in terms of how often people are replacing their bike? Do you see that it's becoming a bit more often? Like, are people getting longer out of their bikes, or are they becoming more like, oh, I'll replace it every couple of years? I'd be curious.
For servicing, we still having most of the customers they having the mentality to service the bikes once a year.
Mm-hmm.
By then, everything's already worn out. So that's when it's even though I remind them do a checkups a little more often, not necessarily to have a full service, but do a checkups every 4 to 6 months. And so then the bike gets safer, you get safer, at least with the brakes.
Yeah.
Depends on the season as well. During winter, because of the harsh weather, it just basically everything gets worn out quicker because of the rain and so that's why you need to service the bike a little bit more on shorter term when it's winter, especially if you ride every day. But the people that still bringing the bikes once every 12 months, and then you say yes, I know that everything is worn out. So like the mentality from the most of the customers is that one, that is just to service the bike once a year. And however, now there is a lot of ways to get around as well. So for example, using the SACO scheme.
Yeah.
So you can be able to use the vouchers towards the parts that needs to be replaced on the bike, and maybe like 50-50 they go ahead and do the service on the bikes, especially you have like, let's say it's the weekend bike and the bike for commuting, then it makes sense to service both bikes in one go using your voucher. Whether we notice as well, like people that is coming with a bike, that we're not here just to take your money, we're here just to advise you into order to taking a better decision. So we're thinking, okay, now with the new changes from the group sets, now it comes to a point that, you know what, your mechanism or your group set is quite already old. So there is no point to service this one, even though the frame is still in good shape. But at some point, everything is gonna be outdated, so there is not gonna be parts anymore.
Yeah.
And they decide to go for the newer model.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I was laughing at the beginning because when you were saying about doing an annual like checkup on the bike, I was like, I feel like that's me. But okay, I've learned my lesson now. I will do it every 4 to 6 months. Going back to the way that you're shifting, let's say you're having more custom builds coming into the shop. Do you also have people coming in to buy e-bikes? Is that something that is happening more often now in the shop?
Yeah, we start to be having quite a good response in the last couple of months. I think so that one is down to Angie, because we put it on our website. So that it is give you more visibility to the business.
Mm-hmm. I think it's such a growing part of bikes at the moment, of the bike world, is the e-bikes. It like opens it up to so many more people who might be a bit intimidated by bikes.
I mean, the thing with the electric bikes, a lot of people they're thinking that is cheating.
Yeah.
But in the
I
reality,
do think that.
I didn't want to say that one, but yeah, Angie, she thinks that that's for cheating people. But in the reality, it's just the perspective on the like in here. It's already been taking almost, believe it or not, almost 6 to 10 years to get to the point that we are in terms of that mentality for the customer to think like, oh yes, I need an electric bike, and it's not just about like, oh, I'm cheating. It's just about like, okay, at least you, because most of the electric bikes legal in the UK, there are pedal assisted. So meaning that you need to do your workout in order the bike to respond.
Yeah.
Meaning that you need to still doing the moving your legs, and in that case, then the bike is gonna be give you that little assist, which is the word. It's gonna help you to keep riding more. So put in the perspective that a nurse that is doing this crazy hours, bless them, people from the NHS, is doing a crazy hour shift, and there is no public transport anymore. So you're not gonna pay the Uber or the taxi just to get home. So you need to jump on your bike. But if it's raining, if it's windy, or if it's like, and you're already tired, so that's why it helps keep you moving.
Mm-hmm.
I think not everybody has the same mobility as well, so I think it's great tool for anyone who wants to start somewhere at least as well.
Yeah, yeah, it makes it a bit more accessible, I think, with cycling. But I was actually I had a chat with Mark Sutton last week. He's with Cycling Electric, and he was actually saying that a lot of people in London are a bit misinformed by the data around e-bikes, that they'll think it's an e-bike, but then it might have too powerful a battery and it won't be covered by your insurance. Something you've come across in your path? No. It was actually quite interesting. He was saying that people will buy a bike thinking it's an e-bike, and then it will be too powerful for it to be insured. So they won't be even allowed to bring it into the workshop or their place of work.
Maybe they are not the legal one.
Yes. On that, sorry. So yeah. So basically, on that note, just because there were a lot of products that they coming from abroad, and that they were basically conversion kits. So
Yes.
normally the people that is using this kind of stuff is people that is using a normal bike. They need they need to use this bike for work, but not for normal commuters. It's just for proper work and like a delivery stuff and so on. So basically, it's a conversion bike, and they start to be having quite a lot of accidents at home and on the road. That the batteries they are not stable, so they start to be having the accidents. So that's why the public transport, if you want to take, before you could be able to take your bike on the train, no anymore, because one of the accidents it happened on the train, and that's why the public transport they banned this kind of bikes. And where we are, I think so near to Bethnal Green, it was a really big accident as well. Last year, that it was on a Friday night, almost midnight, and basically they were having like a 4 or 5 batteries in a row. So because they are unable, then the accident happened, and then they have to evacuate everybody.
What accident? A fire.
A fire
Oh, wow. Okay. Was that in a?
in a in a
Yeah,
flat.
in flat in
Oh,
Bethnal Green.
okay. Wow.
So yeah, so that's the reason why a lot of landlords they are requesting to have this particular certificate that the bike is legal, that the bike is complying with the standards as well. The same at the work. Most of the people they don't know this one, but for example, the bigger companies they have these special lockers that you can be able to put your battery on charge, and hopefully no. But if it's in case that they get into fire, there's a special extinguisher built into the locker that it will calm down the fire.
Okay. So
But many of these they don't have these lockers because they are really expensive. Just for like 2 3 batteries, they go over like 5 to 8K.
oh, okay. So yeah, there's still a lot. Like it was interesting talking to Mark because there's still a lot, even though it's a growing part of the market. He was saying that there's still a lot of people who are misinformed about it, and Yeah, it was quite interesting, but a lot of it did come back to that conversion kit. So interesting to get your point of view on it as well. Moving on to maybe a more hopeful topic, I'd like to kind of wrap things up. I think I would love to know, you've made such progress in the past 5 years. I would love to know where you see Aztecs Bikes going in the next 5 years.
So we are thinking, so right now it's mainly Marco, and we have some people coming part-time to help him. So we hope to build obviously a stronger and bigger team to obviously keep growing our customer base. And we recently opened our online website, so we hope to keep growing on that part as well, and hopefully open a warehouse where we can have our offices and manage over all our logistics from there, I suppose. And probably for Marco, less in the shop and more keep going, I guess, on rides, meet more people, do more workshop to keep empowering people and bring more people in the industry. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, something that it was something changed as well for me is just to really go for rides. It's just a way that you're meeting more customers.
Yeah, of course. It sounds like you've built up a great community though, like at the shop as well. And I think having that, being able to go out and meet those people that you've helped so much would be really rewarding for you.
Yeah, definitely. And again, the same meeting all these customers. Always you as a rider, because you depend on the state of your bike. You want to rely on somebody or you want to trust somebody that can be able to work on your bike properly. So then you keep asking, and that's the reason that we were working with Bikebook, because you want to say, okay, I've been working. You have your mechanic, you trust your mechanic, but then your mechanic he moves away or he changed the trade, and so who's gonna fix your bike? So you start to be asking a reliable mechanic. Where can I find it? Where can I find this person?
Yeah.
So somebody's that's riding with you. Oh, you can go to Aztecs Bikes.
Yeah. Well, I hope it happens. I mean, you're the way you've set up your website, even just from going onto the homepage, I could see that it felt like more than just a bike shop. It feels like there's giving back to the community. And I also think it's really amazing how you're, championing women cycling. It's really and empowering so many women to get on their bikes. So yeah, I wish you all the best. And my final question will be, what makes it worth it? Like when you're opening up the shutters in the morning and like you've got a million bikes to repair and lots on your plate, what makes it all worth it for you both?
What would you say?
Mainly to keep helping our customers. At the end of the day, we're here because of our customers.
Yeah, when I see how much people were supporting Marco for the award or wherever we share our story about more our entrepreneurship story and see the support from all our customers, this one I think is the best things we really have. So I think our customer definitely is the one that make us keep going every day.
Really nice. Well, I wish you all the best with it. I've really enjoyed getting to speak to you both today, and I can just sense how passionate you are about helping the cycling community in London. So, yeah, it's been really great. And if I'm in London, I'll pop in.
Definitely.
Yes, please.
Come and visit. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Bye.